is Friday, June. All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, June 2nd, 2023. And because it's Friday, it's Book Review Friday. So this week we will be going over the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. I hope everybody has read the book. If you haven't read the book, then you are unfortunately missing out. But basically, Grit is a compelling book that talks about the power passion has and the power perseverance has in achieving success. Now, Angela, and I'm saying Angela like we're best friends, but Angela did a lot of research and drew on her personal experiences to go into the concept of grit and its impact on individual achievement. And I think the main premise of the book is she challenges the notion that talent and intelligence alone determine success. A lot of people think you have to be very smart or you have to be very talented to become successful, but she says that isn't correct. That grit, what is grit? Grit is literally the combination of passion and perseverance. You being excited about something and you going after it over and over and over again is a far more accurate predictor of long-term achievement. And what she does is she basically, hold on, someone just came in. And what she does is she basically presents numerous case studies, anecdotes, and testimonials as to I mean scientific testimonials, not testimonials from random people to support her claims. And I think personally that she makes a convincing case for the importance of becoming people who have grit and becoming people who manifest grit in our lives. One of the book's strengths, by the way, guys, I mean, I know it can be considered a long read, even though I don't really think it is. But the truth is, the book is very easy to digest and comprehend. She avoids complex words. She avoids, esoteric jargon. She presents her case. She presents her ideas in a clear and engaging manner, making it suitable for even those of you who don't like reading. It's literally an easy read. She effortlessly weaves together her personal stories, adds research findings to it, and provides practical insights that any of us can apply to our lives. And she basically goes through the concept of grit and looks at it in depth through various aspects of life. So she looks at the concept of grit through education. She looks at how it applies to sports. She also looks at how it applies to business. She talks about individuals who have demonstrated exceptional grit, showing that those who succeed have had what? Have had struggles, have had setbacks, but ultimately, because of their grit, they have triumphed. So by showcasing these real-life examples, she encourages us, the people reading the book, to develop our own resilience and determination. Furthermore, she explores the importance of developing a growth, and we always talk about this, developing a growth mindset and the role of deliberate practice in fostering grit. She basically talks about the significance of effort and continuous improvement, challenging the belief that success comes solely from innate talent. Now, the main thing there, guys, by the way, is, and I'm just giving you a big picture summary of the book, her research-backed arguments basically tell us that with the right mindset, what's the right mindset? Having a vision, knowing what you're going after, and consistent effort, which is doing the right thing long enough, anyone can develop grit and achieve their goals. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is amazing, because at the end of the day, it just tells you that you don't have to be anything extraordinary. It just tells you that you don't have to be anything extraordinary to accomplish the great things you want to accomplish in your life. And that's important to know because a lot of people think they have to be extraordinary. No, she's able to do it because she's this. He's able to do that because he's that. No, anybody can do it. So the first chapter basically says that you have to show up. You have to show up. You have to show up because once you show up and you have passion and you have that commitment to success, you will be successful. But again, you have to show up. She gives numerous examples. I don't know if I want to start going through all of them because if I do, we will probably be here for a quick minute. But basically, she talks about when she started, she looked at people who are at the United States, I believe it was the military academy. And she was talking about, it's one of the most prestigious schools to get into, which is what United States Military Academy, by the way, is West Point. And she talks about getting into, and this is when she was in graduate school, she did this research. She said getting into West Point is a very rigorous process. You have to have great grades, you have to pass a fitness test, and you have to have letters of recommendation from a member of Congress. So literally the 1,200 people who are selected to go to West Point each year are the best of the best. You can't be mediocre and be at West Point. And she talks about new cadets go through a grueling 7-week training program, which is known as Beast Barracks. So most people who leave the United States Military Academy leave during these 7 weeks. More people literally leave the United States Military Academy in the first 7 weeks, when they're in Beast Barracks, than they do at any other point in their career. And she determined that the Academy's whole candidate score, WCS, which comprises of standardized test scores, high school rank, expert appraisals of leadership potential, and the result of a physical fitness test, does not indicate whether a cadet will successfully pass through BEAST. In other words, there are people who have all those things, and when they get to West Point, and they have to go through 7 weeks of hell, which is Beast Barracks, everybody does not make it. So Mike Matthews, she quoted Mike Matthews, he is a military psychologist and a graduate of West Point himself, and also a faculty member there. Remember that the people who made it through this round of Beast weren't the most talented, and guys, this is very important. So she said, and even what Mike Matthews said, the best of the best are admitted into West Point, the best of the best. Not mediocre people, the best of the best. However, during the 7-week process, when they first come in, when they go through Beast Barracks, Hell Week, Hell, 7 weeks of hell, whatever you want to call it, most people who quit the West Point quit at that point. And the guy said, the people who make it through the 7 weeks are not the most talented. They are not the people with the best scores. They're not the people with the most sense. They're not the people with the highest, quote unquote, leadership ability. They are just the people with a never give up attitude. Now, Doc administered the grit scale to 12, that's the author, Angela Duckworth. No, I'm calling her Doc now. Anyway, Duckworth administered the grit scale to 1,218 West Point cadets in July 2004. And she learned that grit scores have no relation to anything else. At the end of the 7 weeks of Beast, she also learned that a cadet's grit score was a reliable prediction of who will succeed during the rigorous training process. So she applied the grit score to the 1,219 people who were there, and she compared it to the whole candidate score, which is WCS. And she realized that even those with the highest WCS did not make it through 7 weeks of Beast Barracks, but the people with the highest grit score did. So then Duckworth administered the grit scale to salespeople, Chicago public school students, Green Berets, Scripps National Spelling Bee champions, Ivy League college students, and everyday Americans. And all this research led to the fundamental insight that has stuck with her throughout her career. And what is this insight? Everybody has huge potential. What we do with our huge potential is a completely different thing. So you have huge potential, I have huge potential, she has huge potential, he has huge potential. What we do with our potential, completely different. And the sad reality is that most people do absolutely nothing with it. All right, chapter 2, distracted by talent. She challenges the common belief that talent is the primary determinant of success. She explores the pitfalls of relying solely on talent and argues that effort and sustained practice are critical factors to developing grit. Again, not talent. Not talent. So when she was 27, she left her job working in New York City to become a math teacher. She left a private job to go work in a public school. And again, she realized, again, to buttress her findings, that talent is not necessarily an indicator of success. Students who were not good at math but were hard workers did better on tests than those who were naturally talented but didn't study. Think about that. People who did not know math, who are not gifted at math, but were hard workers, did better on tests than those who were naturally talented but did not study. She then moved to San Francisco and taught school there as well. Guess what? Same exact thing. So the more she taught, the more she understood that talent was not destiny. Talent was not destiny. Wanting to learn more about the returns generated by effort, she left teaching to become a psychologist. This woman has been all over the place in terms of pursuing this, who or what makes a person a winner. And anyway, to cut a long story short, there have been studies since, the chapter talks about studies since the 1800s on psychology, the psychology of winning and achievement and so on and so forth. And she talks about that. But basically, she just says again, talent isn't it. If you want to win and you think you're going to win because you have talent, you are sadly mistaken. Chapter 3, efforts count twice. She talks about the relationship between effort and skill development. She discusses the importance of deliberate practice and the idea that effort counts more than just initial skill acquisition. She talks about, there are specific things you can do to foster deliberate practice in various domains. She says basically that success can be boiled down to two equations: talent times effort equals skill, and skill times effort, which equals achievement. In other words, talent is how quickly skills improve when you invest effort into a particular activity. Achievement is what happens when those skills are honed and used. So again, talent is how quickly skills improve when you invest effort. How quickly do you invest effort? Like, how many of you on this, we have an M3 every day at 10:30. How many of you are on M3 every day without fail? Not most. I am on every single one. The rest of you, not so much. So now, if you have to invest your time to increase your skill set, but you don't invest your time, then your skill set will not be increased as quickly as possible. So again, talent is how quickly skills improve when you invest effort. Effort is things like this: being here to learn, to improve your skills. Achievement is what happens when those skills are honed and used. So again, you show up here, you listen to what I say, we have M3, you listen to what Marama says. Okay, good. You take those things. Those are skills you've acquired. You learn this, you learn that, you learn the other. Those are skills you've acquired. You then take those skills and use them. What does that mean? That means achievement. And now she also says effort factors into achievement twice. Why? Because it is needed first to build skill and then to achieve something with that skill. So you need effort to build skill. So you need to wake up and say, I'm going to build my business. You need to wake up and say, I'm going to show up for the 10:30. You show up, fantastic. Then the next thing is you show up, you learn. And this is why sometimes I just look at some people and I'm like, this, it's understandable why they're not successful, because they don't follow that equation. Even if they show up, they don't acquire skills. They're not in the moment. One of the reasons I always tell everybody, have your camera on, is so you can be in the moment and I can see you being in the moment. I'm looking right now, not one single person has their camera on. That's okay, it's your call. But that's the thing, you want your camera on because that is effort. That is literally effort. And then what you learn is that you take that effort, and then you turn it into skill acquisition. And then you take those skills and you apply them, and then you have achievements. Now, she does say, by the way, just as a caveat, that her theory does not take into account outside factors such as upbringing and income. And then she talked about 3 small case studies. And again, guys, this is an amazing book. I've told you, go read it. You guys are missing out. She talks about somebody who was a potter, somebody who makes pottery. The guy's name was Warren McKinsey. She also talks about John Irving, who is an author, and she talks about Will Smith. And I'm sure everybody knows who Will Smith is, even if you don't know the other 2 people. And she says all 3 of these people don't think they are particularly talented at their craft. However, all 3 of them work harder than anyone else. And there's a video floating out there on the internet somewhere where Will Smith says exactly that. He says, I am not the best, whatever, but I will outwork you. If you and I have to go on a treadmill, I will die before I lose to you. He's like, literally, I will outwork anybody. So, and I didn't know why he said it, but in this book, she actually talks about in 1940, researchers at Harvard University conducted what is known as the treadmill test. More than 100 sophomores were asked to run on a treadmill set at an impossibly high range and speed for 5 minutes. On average, most quit around the 4-minute mark. So it was for 5 minutes, most quit around the 4-minute mark. Decades later, Harvard University psychologist George Vaillant, however you pronounce his name, followed up with the study's participants. And guess what happened? Guess what he discovered? He said that participants' results on the treadmill test at 20 reliably predicted their psychological adjustment throughout adulthood. Those who showed the most persistence in the study in 1940, when they were sophomores in college, were the people who were most successful in life. Think about it. Those who showed the most persistence in a study when they were sophomores in college were the most successful in life. Why? Because they did not get off the treadmill. So Duckworth thinks that the original Harvard researchers should have offered the men in the treadmill test the opportunity to do it again the next day and the day after that. She believes getting back on the treadmill, eager to try again, is even more reflective of grit. She said people quit too early and too often. So guys, again, I'm telling you, it's not how many times you fail, it's how many times you can fail and try again. And you just keep on trying. That's literally the secret, chapter 4. And this is, guys, this is an amazing book. Go pick up this book and read it. I'm telling you, books feed your head. You will see things you've never seen before. Anyway, chapter 4 talks about ways to measure and assess an individual's level of grit. She introduces the grit scale, a self-assessment tool, and discusses the implications of different levels of grit on personal achievement. Basically, she uses something called the grit scale in her research. It asks questions that ultimately rate a person's passion for what they do and their capability for perseverance. Most people's perseverance score is higher than their passion score. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not written anything throughout the course of today's M3. Please write this down. People who are successful, based on her research, and I can say this from my own life experience, people who are successful, their perseverance is higher than their passion for what they're doing. Let me say that again. People who are successful, their perseverance is higher than their passion. So grit isn't about working hard on something you love. It's about staying in love with it as you continue to work. Enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. What does this mean in simple English? A naturally talented swimmer who does not practice swimming continuously will lose to a person who is not a good swimmer who swims consistently. I'll give you guys a very simple example from my own life. When I started, my first and only corporate America job was for a company called Brightport. They did not want to hire me initially because I was, for lack of a better term, a man with an accent. And they were like, nobody's going to understand him. What are we going to do with him? But I kept on calling them. Finally, the VP of sales said, Alex, don't call us anymore. If we decide to hire you, we will call you. And I said, no problem. And that afternoon, he called me and said, you start on Monday. I got to Brightpoint. There were 40 people in sales. 35 of them were making $30,000 a year. 5 of them were making $100,000 or more. I was 20 years old, somewhere thereabouts. I looked and I studied them and I realized that the difference between the ones making 6 figures and the ones making 30,000 was what? How much work they put in. The people who made the big bucks were relentless. They will make a call, put the phone down, make another call, put the phone down, make another call, put the phone down. The people who are not making money, they'll make a call, go walk the floor, sit down, chit chat, open a book, open a magazine, do research, this, that, the other, and the third, make another call. At the end of the day, the guys who made 6 figures would have made 20, 30 calls in an hour. The guys who made 30,000 would have made 2 calls in an hour. So I decided I'm going to be like the guys making 6 figures. Did I love selling cell phones and accessories? No. I had no passion for that stuff whatsoever. I was going to go to law school in the fall. I graduated a semester early. I was going to go to law school in September. I started working at Brightpoint maybe in January or February. Finished work, graduated in September. Like I said, fall semester, December, I'm so sorry. Whenever the fall semester ends. By outworking those people within 6 months, I was making $100,000 and I never went to law school because I'm like, it's a waste of my time. Same thing here. You can be the most passionate person about finance. If you're not ready to pick up the phone and set the next appointment, it's not going to happen. You can be the most passionate person about recruiting, training, developing people. If you don't pick up the phone to set the next appointment, it's not going to happen. So again, grit isn't about working hard on something you love. It's about staying in love with it as you continue to work. You just have to continue working. She uses the example of Jeffrey Gettleman. He used to be the East Africa bureau chief for the New York Times. Since he was a little kid, he wanted to live in East Africa. That was his passion. Journalism was his means of achieving it. After years of reporting and writing all over the world, he achieved his goal in 2006, a decade after setting it. Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seattle Seahawks football team, says a person needs a life philosophy to succeed. His is do things better than they have ever been done before. To determine a guiding purpose of life philosophy, Duckworth suggests creating a hierarchy of goals that looks like a pyramid. The most important overreaching goal is at the top. That connects to the next level of goals, which are medium importance. Those connect to lower level goals, such as those that are found on a daily to-do list. Individual hierarchies can have as many levels as needed. My goal, for example, is to change humanity. That's my goal. Ultimately, I wanted to be the president of a country. Obviously, I'm not doing that anymore. But I can still change humanity by creating more millionaires in America than anybody since, I don't know, J. Paul Getty. I don't know, whoever has created the most millionaires. I want to create more than that person so that they can go change their communities. So you have to have your own goals. I don't know what your goals are. I don't really care because they're your goals. So she said, the Duckworth also argues that a lot of people can articulate their dream at the top, but they have difficulties identifying the lower and mid-level goals that will help them get there. Their hierarchy is just one circle at the top without any supporting steps. Psychologist Gabrielle Oettingen calls this positive fantasizing, which generally feels good in the short term, but results in disappointment on met goals in the long term. And guys, it's the same thing here. Everybody's like, I want to be an RVP, I want to have the ring. Okay, good. But at the short term, what do you need to do short term? I don't know. Okay, you need to show up early. Do you show up early? No. You need to have Pomodoro cycles. Do you have those? No. You need to set 20 appointments a day. Do you do those? No. You need to have one circle of 10 for 1 every day. Do you do that? No. You need to, one cycle, not circle. You need to have 8531 a day or every week. Do you do that? No. So your short-term goals, the supporting steps are missing. You can't get to the top if you don't do the things at the bottom. And she also says it's common to have various mid-level goals that never come together to form a top-level goal or to have competing goal hierarchies. She said it's okay to have 2 different hierarchies for personal and professional goals, but people should stick to just one professional goal. Guys, you are fortunate because over here you have a framework. You have a framework. Not only do you have the big picture framework from the company, but my goal is to give all of you a framework of what you need to do every day to get to where you want to go. Just do it. Warren Buffett, who's one of the greatest investors ever in history, has a 3-step process for prioritizing goals. He says, first, make a list of 25 career goals. Second, circle the 5 that are the highest priority. Third, look at the goals that weren't circled. So first, second, third, 25 goals, circle the 5 that are the highest. Then we'll do what? Then circle the 5, what am I saying? Make a list of 25 career goals. Circle the 5 that are the highest. The other 20 that weren't circled are the ones that drain your energy. They will take away time and energy from the more important goals, so avoid them at all costs. Duckworth likes this method but emphasizes that people should just have one internal compass, a top goal under which all other goals fall. She'll therefore also add a 4th step, which is to what extent do these goals serve as a common purpose. She uses the career of former New York cartoon editor Bob Mankoff to show how resilient one must be to achieve one's goals. After Mankoff received nearly 2,000 rejection slips from the New Yorker, he finally accepted one of his cartoons. A few years later, they offered him a contract. Rejection and failure are painful, but one must move beyond that to find success. Every day, people will tell you no, 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 but you must keep going. You must keep on accepting those no's. You must keep on keeping on. In the 1920s, she talks about Stanford University psychologist Catherine Cox, who studied 300 exceptionally accomplished historical figures, including Einstein and George Washington. She concluded there was little, if any, correlation between their intelligence and what they were capable of accomplishing. Those who were the most eminent were not necessarily the smartest. Instead, they were deeply passionate about their work and were extremely persistent at it. Like with me, for example, I am persistent at what I do. I am persistent at this. I am persistent at making things better for everybody. Now, those who are the least successful or well-known may have been incredibly intelligent, but they did not show signs of passion or perseverance. So again, guys, this is the first 4 chapters. We're going to cover the next few next week. My suggestion to you, go read the book. You cannot go wrong reading books. Go read the book, go read the book, go read the book. Again, the book is called Grit, and it's written by Angela Duckworth. Grit, written by Angela Duckworth. Let me show you the cover of the book yet again for those who do not remember what it looks like. This is the book, my people. This is the book right here. So please go get a copy of the book, read the book. Go get a copy of the book, read the book. Audiobooks, I believe, or Audible, or whatever it's called, right now has a free month. So go, if you don't want to read the physical book, go get Audible. Try Audible free today. Your Audible membership is free for 30 days. If you enjoy your Audible trial, do nothing. And this is not I'm not pitching Audible to anybody. I don't care what you do. But the point is, if you can't get the physical copy, you prefer the audio version, go get Audible. But whatever the case is, please, for the love of God, start reading. All right, everybody? That's it for me. Thank you for showing up. God bless Team Alpha, God bless America, and God bless you.